Hi, my name is Nicky Ruda. I'm a VP of Product Marketing here at Replicated. I'm going to walk you through 20 ways we can help vendors serve their customers by distributing their commercial applications to customer managed Kubernetes environments. Start out, let's take a look at an overall replicated Marketecture. Now, there's four main components to this and different ways you can interact with them. Starting off with the vendor portal. This is where you'll define channels, you'll promote releases of your software, you can define application configurations, set up what entitlements go with different editions, generate license keys, create Kubernetes distros for your customers, and report and audit how they're using your software. Second major component are the install scripts. This is where the work gets done to install your application, set up a Kubernetes cluster, or install via Helm chart, which is one of our newer options. We can also provide a download portal where you may want to get zip files and keys that you can give your customers so that they can install software in air-gapped deployments and environments. The next major component is the admin console. Here is where you can run pre-flight checks of the environment, install applications from a customer side, set local configurations, do snapshot and restore, update applications automatically if you like, integrate with GitOps, see a version history, and create support bundles to help solve issues faster. Many of these have a user interface, but there's also APIs and CLIs to get the job done. Now, with that quick overview of what's in Replicated, let's talk about 4 ways Replicated helps you. And I'm going to go into each one of these in great detail, but the 4 main categories are helping you build better product, how you can sell more and increase your addressable market, how you can install faster for POCs and production deployments, and how you can support your customers more efficiently. Let's dive in. First of all, let's talk about building better. How do we build a better product? And this is something that's primarily interesting to probably the engineers, the CTOs, the developers on your organization, as well as your product managers. So first of all, I want to share some research. We did an annual study we do with Dimensional Research and talk about why do your customers want software on premises in the first place. There's a number of reasons here. It could include security, data sovereignty, being able to customize, control, price, many other reasons. So the point here is really not that there's one reason customers want on-prem, but that there's many. Next, customers generally like on-premises software. So you should keep your customers happy by offering it. 93% say that they're happy or very happy with having software that they manage in their own environments, be that a traditional data center running on bare metal or VMs, or more often these days, still running in a cloud environment, but like a VPC. So when we say on-prem, we're really talking about modern on-prem. And that's where customers do want the control to manage your application directly. We also want to be able to run in all different environments. Here we can see from vendors responding what types of environments they run in: public cloud, traditional data centers, virtual machines, container platforms, air-gapped environments, or bare metal. So you need to serve your customers in all these different types of environments to be successful. But that brings its own complication. How do you install software to each of these different ones? Now I'm going to shift, and I'm going to use a bit of a metaphor for this. I thought we'd shake it up and make it a little bit fun. So I have a Land Rover Defender I got a while ago, and I'm trying to build that car better. So I'm going to use this as a running joke throughout it. It's not a very funny joke, admittedly, but at least give you some interesting visuals as I talk you through the problems. So first thing I want to talk about is a decision many of you may face is, do you want to build your own installer, or do you want to buy a pre-made solution like Replicated has? So most people go down the build road, find that they spend many engineers and many man hours trying to deal with this, and that it's not a one-time endeavor. And once they started it, then they need to continue to maintain it, develop it, add features, and customize it for all kinds of different environments. So if you're one of those companies, 30% of whom have begun offering on-prem solutions just the last 3 years, you might be thinking, how hard can it be? Well, let me tell you, it's plenty hard. And 96% of companies have 6 or more employees dedicated to building an on-prem software installer, and a third have more than 50 employees. So Replicated gives you this tooling that is state-of-the-art and really helps you be successful using one platform to distribute to diverse environments. Don't try and go it your own. Second reason is slow innovation, slow time to market. How do you get your product out the door? How do you manage different channels like alpha, beta, and stable? Do you have automation around the software lifecycle? Does it make it easier or harder to get your new releases shipped? So Replicated really helps you organize your releases by channel, assign customers to them, and gives you more control how you can iterate and test new features, and developers can be more confident and shift more often as a result. Third reason, keeping apps secure on your own can be hard. Customers are concerned about where they run data in their environment. They really want it in their environment. The more SaaS apps they have, the more surface area they might have. And we give you the ability to reduce that surface area, to be able to control it, make sure your customers are running the latest versions, that there aren't known issues or vulnerabilities that are exposed to. And as a result, reduce the number of customer support issues, reduce the security risk, increase patch rates, and reduce the number of issues you might have. Nobody is happy when there's a security breach. We also help reduce that attack surface area that I just mentioned further. And this is really thinking about, government regulations, industry best practices. They force customers to run in their own environments for various reasons, and there could be quite a few of them. But if we can increase the security for the vendor and for your end users, we're removing a possible objection to a sale, especially for SaaS. This could be a concern, and being able to give customers your application in an environment where they want to run it, that's really important. So think about hackers looking to steal assets from different locations, and SaaS providers are rich targets for them. This is just one of many reasons. Customers will want to avoid lengthy audits and control where things run, where their data is. Really bring your application to their data rather than bring their data to your application. Now, another concern in building good products is runbooks don't scale. It's very hard to document everything for your customers. It gives them a difficult time managing the reliability and scalability of your application. There can be complex compatibility matrices, new problems emerging at scale, performance issues, outages. The more you can automate things and standardize things, the more confident that you're architecting for success, and you don't need to invent complicated workarounds to support growth. So being able to help your customers be successful with your product is really a key here. And number 6 is managing features and editions. You may have different editions, a community edition, maybe you're a freemium model trying to seed the market, but then migrate people to a premium enterprise version of your product. So being able to manage entitlements for the various editions, control it from a central console, move your customers from community with limited features to enterprise and being able to use the most of your product. We make that whole process that much easier for you. So that was around building better. Now let's talk more about selling more. Here we have, again, some research we want to call out, which is to show that for most software vendors we talk to, 75%, that their on-premise software business continues to grow. It's grown over the last 5 years. So obviously we want to be able to service those on-prem demand, those opportunities, and grow your business. Now, you're not too late to the party. You can see here again, I referenced 30% of people have started selling on-premises software in the last 3 years. You are going to be aligned to this. So whether you've been a traditional vendor who's always done on-premise, or you're a SaaS provider that's just looking to get there now, figuring out installers that work for cloud and Kubernetes customer managed environments is really key. And you just don't want to miss out here. 42% say that they lost business by not having an on-premises solution. So you're in the right place. Let's think about how can we increase your addressable market and help you get more business. So first of all, we want to think about like distributing applications to Kubernetes and cloud. How do you light that spark and get different opportunities here? If you're a traditional vendor, you've sold on-premise, but you need to modernize your application. So many customers are expecting things to run on Kubernetes. They don't want to have to manage bare metal anymore, or VM instances. So how do you scale it out, run in these diverse environments, and efficiently serve tens, hundreds, or thousands of customers? Well, we help you take your containerized application and package it neatly for install into these customer managed environments. And that's going to grow your revenue opportunity here pretty significantly. This is basically one of our major value propositions. The next thing is being able to support more secure environments like air-gapped install. So if you're talking about some of the bigger opportunities out there, they're often in the areas of government, financial, pharma, health, other very security conscious. And we're talking about modern air-gap. But how do we get your software installed out there? How do we get redacted support logs back to you? How do we make this manageable for you when you don't have a internet connection to that customer environment? And this is a great opportunity, and Replicated packages up your software and can, on the other end, package up the customer logs and get them back to you safely and securely. So Another major value prop for us is if you're a SaaS company, how do you get to these on-premises opportunities? Sometimes your customer really wants to be able to control it. They want to have hands-on and set the pace for how it's run. And they can't do that if it's running in your SaaS environment. So here's an opportunity for SaaS companies to increase their addressable market and revenue to meet the customers where they are, where they want to run their apps. So great opportunity to efficiently do that and synchronize what releases you're running in your SaaS versions versus what the on-prem looks like and keep them tightly aligned. So we see customers who just get started with Replicated often have at least 10 net new on-premise opportunities in the first year. Sometimes that's millions of dollars of additional revenue opportunity if they're able to bring their product to the customer. Not least is thinking about your field engineers. Number 10 is your SEs, sales engineers, or solution architects, whatever you call your field engineers. How much time does it take to do POCs? How long does it take to deploy in the customer environment? And many times this runs much longer than expected. So one way to sell more is to sell faster and speed up these POCs. 93% of companies have to run POCs to get their software tested and proven before a customer will buy it. Let's make your field engineers more efficient, able to move faster with fewer issues, and enable them to get back to selling opportunities rather than just manipulating software. Not least, let's think about managing trial licensing. Often this is a really painstaking manual process. You don't have a lot of control over it. What we want to do here is we want to integrate with your licensing system. So make it really efficient to issue a customer license for trial or POC or production and convert people. Like you said, go from community to enterprise editions, avoid customers abusing trial license, and make it really efficient for you. So that can also help you sell faster with less overhead. Now, selling more, selling faster is one thing. Installing faster is the next real big category we want to look at. And thinking about, again, speeding up the proof of concepts for your organization. We see here in our research, 56% of customers say it takes more than a week to set up a proof of concept to get it up and running in a customer's environment. Obviously, that's time that the customer has to invest in it and you have to invest in it when you could, in fact, be setting up things faster. This holds true in production environments as well, where 84% of time it takes more than a week to get up and running. So how do we get this more efficient? Well, one thing to think about is, does your customer have an existing Kubernetes cluster? Is there somewhere they can install your app, or do they need to get an environment where they can house it? What we need to think about here is, how do you actually build your own distro? How do you set up an idealized Kubernetes environment and create an embedded cluster that brings both the cluster environment configured how you want it and then the application to it? So we have technology here that really helps make that efficient, and your customer will get exactly what they want. Maybe they want one cluster per app. Maybe they don't know what specific requirements you have. We just make this easy out of the box as packaged together with your application. And this is, again, a major reason people want to use Replicated. Number 13 is that actually doing these installs can be slow and often fail. They can blow up in your face if it's not run efficiently or successfully for a customer, and cause some frustration or dissatisfaction at the time where you're really trying to win over the customer, make them happier and more successful. So the challenge here is often that end customer environments can vary widely and wildly, and that introduces unforeseen incompatibilities. So what we're going to do here is abstract away from that complexity and variability of your customer environments and make those POCs and production installs far more likely to exceed the first time. So you impress your customer, you move your opportunity forward faster. We can really pre-check the environment at a host level or an application level, make sure it has the right circumstances to make you successful the first time. And this has the added benefit of keeping your engineering team focused on developing. They're innovating, they're working on the product. They're not just supporting field engineers and escalations as customers and sales engineers or solution architects are struggling. We're codifying some of that knowledge you have. Even if you don't have the people with the right skills, building it in with a feature-rich installer out of the box, using troubleshoot to do custom checks and guarantee the environments meet the specs, to automate things and analyze the environment before we go there. This is going to give a ton of time back to your developing engineers, not just your field engineers, and really get you much more efficient. We found one of our recent customers said we reduced the effort by 1/3. They went from 2.5 days to sometimes 1 day or less to install. In fact, we had customers say that they did their first production install without ever having to call on a field engineer, much less a development engineer. So keep your focus on innovation rather than supporting these environments. Replication can really help here. And that links into a very common challenge, which is this Kubernetes skills gap. Thinking about, do you have enough talent on your team? Of course, everybody can learn Kubernetes. It's complex, but you have smart engineers. The challenge is, are you burning out those people who have that? We can automate how you install to cut and paste style command lines. So you can bootstrap new Kubernetes clusters. You can install your app. It doesn't require a ton of knowledge for Kubernetes up front. And a lot of times people say this is hugely advantageous, both to the vendor and to your enterprise customers. So we're not saying it's a great idea to go after customers who don't have any experience with Kubernetes, but we can enable more installs, we can reduce mistakes, and make people more successful. And, we saw in our research, 60% of vendors said that up to half of their customers were fairly new to Kubernetes. So how do we make it easier on everybody and unload from the truck with the minimum amount of skills required, the maximum likelihood of success? Another thing to think about is how do you run in a lot of different environments? Do you need distinct installers? Do you need distinct scripts? Do you need distinct instructions for every different operating system, Kubernetes flavor, cloud environment? How complicated can that be? So rather than supporting a massive compatibility matrix of these distros, OSs, cloud services, and all the risk that comes with that, all that complexity, let's standardize. Let's give you one platform to install. Let's make it run consistently in every different environment. And, that's just going to increase your success rate and increase how many environments you can run in. Currently we found only 46% of vendors were able to install software on all public cloud platforms. Why not make that 100% and be able to get customers to run successfully in any different environment and do it from a common platform for your team? So moving on to the fourth area, I just want to talk about support. The deal doesn't end when you've just installed to your customer. You need to be able to support them efficiently. And this comes out again in our research, where we found that 72% of vendors will have 4 or more support escalations per month from on-premises installs. And these are often more complex, difficult to handle. And so how do we handle these customer support challenges? This is number 17 on our list if you're keeping count. But every customer environment's different. Collecting detailed logs to identify issues can take a lot of time. You often lose a lot of time back and forth trying to understand this. And this makes your support engineer's quality of life bad, and it makes your customer experience bad if you're wasting time and your mean time to a resolution draws out. So we're able to help you resolve issues faster. We can reduce the back and forth to get info. We can reduce support team costs. We can improve morale and build customer loyalty, really, and make them less likely to churn, because we can collect that log information with support bundles. And an interesting fact here is our own replicated support team reports that 7.1 issues are typically closed 3 times faster when a support bundle is included. So best practice here is obviously use support bundles as part of the product, be able to resolve these on-premise issues faster. And just as we talked about Kubernetes skills in the field or on the customer side, your support teams may also have some hesitation about getting into customer managed Kubernetes environments. It can be difficult or expensive to hire and train and retain staff with Kubernetes experience. So how do we simplify this? Let's make these different tasks easier. Let's make it so you're not held back by skills on your support side related to Kubernetes. Let's standardize how it works and make it a lot more efficient to reproduce a customer problem, test an environment, come up with a solution, then get on a call across the globe. So diagnose much more efficiently with the right information. Number 19, coming near the end here, is improving app reliability. So meeting SLAs, keeping your customers happy. If you have a customer issue where things aren't running successfully, after about 4 hours, things start to get political, is something we hear often from our customers. So let's accelerate that troubleshooting. Let's collect comprehensively log information if there is an issue, but let's also run those pre-flight checks and understand what's likely to be an issue. And we'll help improve metrics like mean time between failure, mean time to recovery. And again, that's great customer satisfaction value in this and keeping customers happy here. So reducing the burden on your support team also, again, reduces the burden on your enterprise developers and engineers, because they'll have to spend less time helping support if you can make support that much more efficient. So last thing to think about in the support area is product life cycle challenges. Your product may be out there for some time. Different editions come out, different versions. Each time you fix some things, there may be compatibility with past versions. Here's an area where we can help customers automatically update or automatically update minor additions and check on major updates before they do it. We can enforce semantic versioning here so they don't skip important releases. We can just generally ensure that your customers are running close to the latest, where you will know you're not running into known issues. They're working with the best and the greatest of your software. So this is really important, and this alone can have huge value for you and your customer organizations. So I know that was a whirlwind look at not just my Defender, but 20 ways that Replicated can help you. I hope this session was interesting and informative for you, and I really thank you for attending, and hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. And if you want to know more about Replicated, please just reach out anytime. Thank you.